Syncing audio 1 2 3. Syncing audio 1 2 3. Hello, GBA fans, and welcome to week 11. I think this is, or are we only on week 10 for this one? Week 10?
Yeah, week 10.
Week 10. Okay, I just want to say really quickly that we recorded this week 10, but I had some technical plus life IRL issues that prevented me from getting it out. I take full responsibility for that. I'm sorry. Please don't be mad at me, but we should be good now, and it's here, so enjoy. I'm always a week ahead. Week 10, Around the Rhyhorn. I know we've missed a couple weeks, but that's just because of scheduling issues and stuff, but that's out of the way now. Anyways, this week we are talking about abilities, but before we jump into that, let me introduce my co-host.
Hello one and all, Spastic here yet again.
And we have two special guest analysts this week. First up, we have TheConfusion returning once again.
What is going on, GBA? I am TheConfusion, and we are back. I just also want to say that there is no weekly recap. This is the only time I'm gonna be on the GBA, so I just want to throw that out there. Just because me and Sticks are having a really hard time scheduling. He's doing a lot of things, and my Wi-Fi has been on and off. So just had to throw that in there really quickly.
And last but not least, we have Travistey, the greatest travesty on YouTube.
You bet your ass I'm not least.
I mean, you're the greatest travesty, so if there's another travesty on YouTube,
There is. I know him.
I don't know, but I know another. I know another one that might just top you, just a tiny bit, just a tiny bit.
No, he is the greatest travesty. No one else can compare.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyways, so this week, as I said, we are talking about abilities, and our first kind of sub-main topic thing, if you want to call it that, is
that's the official name for it.
Offensive abilities. So let me just say, like, Scrappy, Iron Fist, Sheer Force,
Pure Power.
Pure Power.
Jesus Christ.
We gotta have stuff to talk about.
Then go ahead.
Okay, so let's talk about these offensive abilities. Let's talk about the godlike physical ability that is Sheer Force. Let's talk about how you can take a mon like Nidoking, for example, that has a special attack stat that is quite a bit less than its physical attack, and yet because of Sheer Force Life Orb is a thing, it's mainly seen as a special wall breaker. Because Sheer Force boost moves like Fire Blast, like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Sludge Wave, Earth Power.
You know, I actually had a question about this. I actually never knew this, and I'm sure there's other people also wondering, but how come you don't take Life Orb damage if you have the Sheer Force ability? I never understood.
Because Game Freak is stupid.
What Sheer Force does, because Sheer Force Life Orb is broken because Sheer Force negates all recoil, including from items.
No, it doesn't. It negates secondary effects. It doesn't negate recoil,
right,
because Darmanitan still takes Flare Blitz recoil.
So why can't I have a Sheer Force Mon with the Assault Vest and have non-attacking moves? Is that how that works?
It's a stupid mechanic. It makes no sense than anything else. Like, Rockhead Mons take Life Orb damage, but for some reason they were like, no, we're just going to make Sheer Force really broken and give it free Life Orb on top of everything else. Like, Jesus Christ.
But the Life Orb recoil is only negated if you use a move that has a secondary effect.
Yes.
Like Flamethrower has a 10% chance to burn. Therefore, Sheer Force negates that, and it also negates the Life Orb.
Gives you like an Expert Belt boost, like by 20%.
Yeah, but if you use, for example, Earthquake, which has no secondary effect, and you have a Sheer Force mod, you will take Life Orb recoil.
So it clearly has something to do with the Sheer Force.
Yeah, it's a weird mechanic. I don't understand the logic behind it. It just works the way it does, and because it works the way it does, the Nido twins, I guess, are really freaking broken. Well, not broken,
also,
but really good.
I mean, a lot of people...
Oh, yes.
Unfortunately, Rampardos, like a beast, is very slow. So it's not, it's in PU, it's a very low tier. But it does get Sheer Force, and I've run it in PU with Sheer Force Life Orb. And it gets a Rock Slide, which gets the boost. It gets Crunch, Fire Punch. Like, it gets so much coverage, and just, like, OHKOs the entire tier. It's hilarious.
Well, I mean, you can just go onto YouTube, scroll back to... Wednesday and just watch or Tuesday maybe.
Brandon's waiver wire.
Or you can watch MV's 47-minute OU Rampardos episode where he just kind of destroys the OU tier with Rampardos.
Oh, Rampardos is a
Well,
feat.
damn.
I love that thing. But also like Pure Power and Huge Power, Mega Metacham, Azumarill, like those things are such like in game, like when you're just playing with them, just going through the game, they're very like useless. But when it comes into competitive, like that attack stat being doubled is insane, like huge.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's the stat, not the base. It's the stat, and that just makes it so much better.
Yeah.
Does Pure Power do the base though? Because I think don't they do the opposite?
No, they do the same thing. For some reason, they have different names. Like it's just.
Well,
It's like Mold Breaker.
Didn't Huge Power come after Pure Power though?
I think so. I think Pure Power was the Metacham,
Pure Power was
Metatite
3rd
line
gen.
in 3rd gen.
Pure Power was 3rd gen.
I don't know why they made a different one, but
Pure Power
whatever.
got introduced with Metacham. Whenever Metacham was introduced.
Yeah, 3rd gen.
3rd gen.
3rd
Okay,
gen.
and then I don't know when Huge
That's
Power.
when all abilities were introduced.
I mean, to be fair, it's like Mold Breaker and Terravolt / Turbo Blaze.
Yeah.
They all do the same thing. They're just worded differently.
I think
Which, those are also great offensive abilities.
Yeah. One offensive ability which I think no one has yet mentioned is, I'm just going to mention like all of them in one, is the weather speed boosting abilities. So, Sand Rush, Swift Swim, Chlorophyll. They're really useful in the format in particular because you can run pseudo weather teams. Like, we obviously have the likes of Chimp who has a rain offense core. We have Top who has a sand offense core. But even so, if you just have a mon like Soulsbuck with Chlorophyll, you can bring another mon, even if it doesn't have the drought ability. You can set up the sun with Sunny Day and then explode or whatever and bring in a Sunsweeper, and that double speed plus the ability to run Adamant Life Orb or Modest Life Orb because you have so much speed, plus usually the power boost from the weather, so like in the rain, Hydro Pumps get a 1.5 times boost. It becomes really friggin' hard to switch into.
And a lot of people don't realize that there are so many Pokemon who get moves. For example, I know that Azelf gets every weather-inducing move except for Hail. Like, it gets Sandstorm, gets Sunny Day, get Rain Dance. And if you have a, other Pokemon can take advantage of it too. For example, like you said, the Tornadus on Chimp's team can take advantage of the rain as well by having fully accurate hurricanes. So other Pokemon can take advantage of weather too. The weather has so many potential within, what it could do. And, also Prankster Mons. If a Prankster can have a Pokemon just, for example, I know Klefki gets Rain Dance. That thing can set up the rain, like with a Prankster. There's a lot of support for the rain. So it's not just, I have Politoed, therefore I have rain. You could just have Pokemon that do really, really well in the rain, and then have a Pokemon that can set it up for you.
Or if you really want to be that guy, you can be Tornadus Incarnate, set up a Prankster Rain Dance, and then thunder everything.
That's a set that's been used. Or a friend of mine did a set where they had Thunder Electros. They had a Rain Dance Heatran, I believe. It was like a suicide. It was a Focus Sash Suicide Lead Heatran with Rain Dance. Brought in Thunder Electros and Swift Swim Seismitoad and just swept someone.
Well, kids, you learn
This
something
week
new
on Crap
every
You Would
day.
Never
I did not know that Heatran gets Rain Dance.
I think that was it.
This week on Shit You Would Never Expect.
I may have just completely fucked up, but I think that was it. It was a while ago. Oh no, it doesn't. The Heatran didn't have Rain Dance. There was a Suicide Lead Heatran and Pseudo Rain, and it was great.
I was about to say, that fiery lava Pokemon about to set up the rain, that is beautiful. Good for him.
I mean, stranger things have happened.
Custom games?
Can we not attest to this?
Oh my god, like, I can imagine, like, Mega Camera Up just shooting, like, a rain dance in the air. Just hilarious.
It turns from a volcano into a geyser.
Oh, that is so funny. But also, it's really funny that the only Pokemon that get Chlorophyll, which is a, they get the boost, they get double on speed for being in the sun, is Grass types. Grass types are the only Pokemon that get Chlorophyll. No Fire type. I don't think any Fire type has access to that move. And I think that would be also overpowered because if a Fire type could boost their speed and then like hit 1.5 times harder with like their Flamethrowers or Fire Blasts, that would be great, because not only would they have the boost, but they'd have the speed with it. So,
Fire types are offensive. Fire types are generally are generally in a pretty decent tier speed, or speed tier, so...
They're also
Yeah,
really
that'd be
freaking
kinda
hard to
broken.
switch into, because
Very.
if you give a fire type
Yeah.
boosted fire moves plus sun, plus potentially solar beam, that can be terrifying. Like, you look at Megazard Y, it's a
you wouldn't be
fantastic
able-
wall breaker, and it
like-
doesn't even get the speed boost.
Like, you wouldn't be able to switch into an Entei unless, 1, you're scarfed, or 2, you just outspeed it, like, a lot naturally. Because it has the boost. It has the boost from the speed. It's already base 100, which is a pretty good speed tier for it, and it's most likely max attack, max speed.
And then E-Speed is...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at times 2 speed, nothing would outspeed an Entei. Like
very
it-
little. Maybe like if Ninja.
The
Scarf-
scarf Deoxys speed, maybe. Like,
I
Maybe.
think a scarf tornadoes would.
no.
Scarf tornadoes T.
No.
Scarf tornado.
Taunty is only 20 points.
Guys,
20 base points
hello,
above Entei.
scarfed Mega Aerodactyl, duh.
I,
Hello.
yes. We have we have solved the
Yes.
riddle.
Okay.
Right, because this is like TCG, where after you use your Spirit Link, your item goes away, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And you just slap your lucky
Yes.
helmet onto it, yeah. That's
Also,
exactly
let's
how it
talk about
works.
Moxie. I want them to make a special Moxie.
Yes.
That would be great.
They did Soul Heart
That'd
with
be
Magina.
awesome.
Is that no?
Yeah, that's not really just for your off. It's like anybody goes down.
Yeah,
on
it's
the
like a buffed special Moxie.
Ooh, I like that. That's interesting. I want to see that coming.
I know
to
there's
play.
been a couple of fan games where they introduced a special version of Moxie called Hubris, which it did the exact same thing as Moxie but special attack, and that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Because once you're on a roll,
yeah.
you just keep going. You just keep going, and it only gets stronger. You know, people usually think,
Yep.
okay, I'm just gonna sack him on, but that's so dumb against Pokemon that gets Moxie. Because even though you're sacking it to get a free switch, that free switch isn't as great anymore because you just boosted its attack one more time. So it now gets O-code where before it didn't. So you have to be so careful when switching into Pokemon that have Moxie.
Yep.
Like Honchkrow,
Salamence.
Crocodile, Salamence.
Gyarados.
Yeah, Scrafty. They're great. They work really... And almost every single Pokemon we just mentioned has Dragon Dance, too. So it makes them really viable.
I think
Welcome
the only
to
one.
Scary
I think
on
the
top
only
of
one
scary.
that doesn't. No, that's not true. I was gonna say I think Honchkrow is the only one that doesn't get Dragon Dance, but Crocodile doesn't. So
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Heracross gets Moxie.
But it gets Swords Dance.
Pinsir gets Moxie.
It's
Pinsir
true.
does. Pyroar. Yeah. Because you would totally run physical
I
Pyroar.
always forget that, and then I
mixed
laugh.
Pyro could be a thing.
Hey,
Iron
okay,
Tail
okay,
for
okay.
Florges.
Next draft I have, I am drafting Pyro and I run physical Moxie every single week.
Oh my
Alright, well, next draft, I'm running a Moxie Mytiena. Get on my level.
Next
Yeah,
draft, I'm
oh
gonna
my
get
God.
Sunkern and beat both of you.
Ooh.
Oh,
We're not even in the same league we are.
I will scoop to Sunkern. No thanks. Do not
Yes,
want.
I will drop Victini and pick up Sunkern. That's it.
Do it. I
Speaking
dare you.
of weather sweepers, Sunkern.
Yes, he's a grass type with chlorophyll. Like, I don't know. What's up with
Yeah.
that? Hey, also in the sun you get boosted synthesis. That's interesting.
That is true.
And in the sand
Isn't it
and
boosted
rain.
to-
This is talking into a discussion
Yeah.
about weather rather than a discussion about abilities.
I know, but the weather has such great abilities. Like they're so overpowered to just come in and set up weather. It used to be more overpowered when in 5th gen, weather was there. Like it came in and you
weather.
couldn't get
Oh,
rid of
yeah.
it. That was bad.
Should I just tell Azek to make this thumbnail weather and abilities?
Nah, let's move on. Let's just stop.
Let's
I
move
was
on.
actually
Alright, yeah, let's move on to defensive abilities.
Yes, okay, let's start with
like,
Prankster. I really wanted to start.
Regenerator.
Okay, yeah, Regenerator. There's Prankster.
Magic
if a
Guard,
Pokemon has
Magic Bounce.
Prankster, it's probably defensive. Prankster Pokemon are probably defensive.
Magic Bounce.
Thunderous Incarnate gets Prankster, and it's very much offensive.
Indeed.
Yeah, Thunderous and Tornadus Incarnate are both amazing Prankster mods because they can set up Prankster Weather. They can like Prankster T-Wave or Prankster Taunt, Prankster
And then you think
Tailwind.
of like Klefki and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
They're more
Klefki.
utility mons, I guess. When you think
Yeah.
of Pokemon like Meowstic, Liepard, they're more utility, I guess. Kind of help out a team with stuff like that. But like against
How about this? A levitate mon that a levitate mon.
Electros.
where are you going with that? You're like, a levitate mon.
Levitate is a useful defensive ability just because it gives you an immunity. Like, it just makes your
Anything like
typing
that.
ever so
Whether
slightly
you have
better.
flash
You
fire.
don't have to
Water
carry
absorb.
You don't have to carry it.
Yeah, flash fire, water absorb. You got sap sipper, volt absorb. You know, there's some cool abilities that just straight up will give you an immunity, and it's hilarious.
But the big one with levitate is it often gives you something which can deal with edgequake coverage, because the only other ground immunities are flying types, which get destroyed by rock moves. So a mon with levitate, a decently bulky mon with levitate, can help your team deal with edgequake. Yeah, like Bronzong. I mean, then Moldbreaker Extra comes in and destroys your life. But that's the point.
Like
Rip.
Volt, Curum Black.
Or Cresselia, or one of the Lotties.
Oh yes, psychic types are fat.
Yeah, they all get
psychic
levitate.
types are fat. I don't know why, but they're
Fat psychic types with levitate.
Uxie,
Latias.
Mesprit, Latias, Cresselia. Like, oh, they're so nasty.
Mew.
That's not
Evelyn
even
Reuniclus.
Let's talk about thick.
Honestly, but
Let's talk about thick fat for a second.
Cresselia, though, is weird because it gets levitate, and although it makes sense with the design, it doesn't really help give it an advantage within. Like, okay, so it's immune to earthquake, like it's not that big of a weakness. So I feel like it could have had a more useful ability, maybe something like Matt.
No, we're not giving Cresselia a better ability. That thing is
Healer.
fat.
Healer.
I don't want to deal with it. We're not giving it a better ability.
Healer.
Cresselia just
healer.
needs to get turned into duck confit already.
Oh lord.
Give it healer.
Seriously, just
You know what I want to talk about? I don't know. Wait, this is something I'm interested in talking about. What about in double? You have combinations of abilities that help each other. Like for example,
plus and minus.
I remember seeing this one time where there was like a Cophagrigus and a Licky Licky on one side, and Licky Licky had its own tempo, and the Cophagrigus used Swagger on Licky Licky. And then it didn't get confused. It got the +2, and then it used Explosion. Cophagrigus was immune, and then it was a +2 Explosion on the other two Pokemon.
That is
like those combinations of abilities are really cool to see. What's funny is Florges has two abilities that only work in doubles, or grass types at that.
And things like Clefairy get Friend Guard, which is really useful in doubles.
Megalino gets Healer, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, they really want fairy types to do well in doubles.
Did you see how many fairy types were released this past like month? Oh my god, they are throwing.
Oh, you
them.
mean like 70?
Like the Hawaii lei that they put around you when you come in? They're like, you've just been laid, and then they put that thing around you. Let's make it a Pokemon, guys.
Do not put that thing around my neck. No, thank you.
It gets priority healing. I'm already terrified
Oh,
of
you
how
mean
gross
so I
that's
walk
going
into
to
a
be.
Alola
God.
region and
Yeah.
everything's a fairy
I don't
type,
understand though. Okay, so I don't understand. If it's priority healing, why don't you just give it Prankster?
I think they might make a move like Draining Kiss priority. I'm not like we'll have to test out the mechanics when it gets fully released. But
I heard that
might.
it was like the highest priority, so it's gonna go like past things like Talonflame's Brave.
So it's like
it's
like the opposite of Roar.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like a +7 priority?
I'm thinking, is it gonna like I know it doesn't matter, but would it go before Protect? I don't know. Like, what do you mean the highest priority in its
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we will.
Because like
Only
having the
time
lowest
will
priority,
tell.
no matter what, Roar is already gonna go last.
All right. Yeah. No.
Except
matter
if you
what.
go for Trick Room.
Or Protect actually.
Well, that's why you go.
Well,
you
no,
get
'cause
a
Trick Room-
Riolu with
Trick
Prankster,
Room doesn't affect
Copycat, and then more.
priority.
I think
No, Trick Room has -7 priority. Roar has
Does it
-6.
actually?
So if you go to set up Trick Room and someone roars you out, you don't set up Trick
Roar
Room.
is also -6 though.
No, Trick Room's -7.
I actually didn't know that about Trick Room. Just you just think like, wow, Trick Room actually does always go last. Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's interesting to note. But yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
I mean, hey, Trick Room
thought
is a
Trick
good-
Room. I just saw Trick Room always on slower mons, so I always thought.
Yeah. Right. That's
just
usually how it
the mons
works.
were always slow.
I mean, Trick Room makes for a great utility move to pair with some decent abilities.
Right. So
Like,
talking about what we were saying before about the combination of an item with Life Orb and then Sheer Force, on the defensive side, you have Pokemon like Garchomp and Ferrothorn who get Iron Barbs or Rough Skin, and then they throw on an item like Rocky Helmet, and then it becomes a busted Pokemon in which you just go for Fake Out and you lose half your HP.
On Mega Lopunny.
Yes, or you come in like any resisted hit, and then you take so much damage. I think you take what, 38% with the combination of 12 plus 16. I don't know. It's
a lot.
It's 20. It's a lot. It's a lot of damage to take when you're just trying to hit something. And then not only
And
that,
if
but
you
then
have
they could hit you with a
hazards
regular
like-
move.
Yeah, and if you have hazards like Stealth Rock or a layer or two of spikes up, that's extra damage on them already.
Yeah, that's why.
So you can get up to like 50%. And if you can get 3 layers of spikes up, God forbid you even try it.
Oh god.
If you get 3 layers of spikes set up on you, you kind of deserve to get
I wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
I said it.
I know some teams will
No, but, like-
avoid bringing like the hazard removal, but like people will take advantage of that.
Bring on the magic bouncers. Give me a Mega Absol. Give me Espeon.
My only problem is the majority of Magic Bounce Pokemon are so frail, other than Mega Sableye, like Espeon.
Which is why
and-
Mega Sableye completely destroyed the OU tier when it was first introduced, because people just didn't know how to deal
yeah.
with a bulky Magic Bouncer.
It's still there, right? I remember there was like a suspect.
It's still there,
Megalopony
it's
came-
just
still
less used now.
Right.
Yeah, and then
I mean,
Megalopony
people are
was
figuring out how to
released.
deal with
Yeah.
it.
Which is confusing, because when Sylveon dropped, I thought like Mega Sableye would go crazy, because you'll see Sylveons more in the UU tier, even though you can still put them in OU. I don't know, like you're probably not going to use as much. 'cause
There's
people
still
aren't
just
thinking
Clefable running around. Clefable just shuts down Mega Sableye, is the problem. And
Right.
Clefable's super popular, so...
Which I don't understand. Its stats are so mediocre. Again, it's an ability can make a Pokemon
Magic
so
Guard.
viable. That's the thing.
Magic Guard is an amazing defensive ability, especially if you've got people spamming Will-O-Wisp or Toxic.
It's also a pretty good offensive ability, because the likes of, Reuniclus uses it for free Life Orb, and Alakazam can often use it for a free Sash, which is guaranteed, so you don't need to worry about removing hazards. So Magic Guard is an all-around good ability. It's mostly good for a defensive mon, but it can also be applied for offensive firepower.
I
mean, Mold Breaker kind of in the same vein. Like, yes, it's amazing to take out mons with like Levitate or even type Absorption, but you can also get through like Magic Bouncers. You can set up your rocks, easily. Like Excadrill can set up Stealth Rocks no matter what Magic Bouncers are sitting in front of it. So it has its value.
What about Thick Fat?
Thick Fat is amazing, especially when you throw it on Mega Venusaur, which takes care of 2 of its big weaknesses right then and there. And then you've got other mons like, for example, Hariyama, which has a pretty high HP stat at 144. I mean, its defenses aren't spectacular.
So that's why,
but
Snorlax is good, because mostly Ice type
yes.
attacks are special. And that thing has a great special defense. Same with Fire attacks. You usually see Fire Blast running around. Although Flare Blitz is used a lot, usually if it's not Stab, you usually get the option of Flamethrower versus having something like Flare Blitz. So that's why Snorlax is still viable with that ability, even though it's not weak to those moves.
And Miltank as
Or
well.
Raku-
It just makes
Mamoswine.
it a much better typing when you just give it 2
Miltank.
free resistances. 2 really common offensive types that are hard to switch into for a lot of teams. You just take a relatively bulky mon and just make it resist those 2 types. It's really useful.
And it's one of the reasons why Miltank, I feel, is really good, especially in the Draft League format, because it shuts down fire types with having the ability to curse to boost its defenses. And since a lot of fire, water, grass cores run an offensive fire type like Entei, I mean, Miltank shuts down Sacred Fire Entei in a heartbeat, because it takes like 20% with Thick Fat at max defense and bold.
Yeah, if you spec it right, it'll do wonders for you. Of course, it also has Sap Sipper, which is, we talked about it earlier, is amazing.
Also, it's
Plus
what's
Scrappy.
also something interesting when we're talking about abilities is when a Pokemon has 3 viable abilities. Because when in a League type format, when a Pokemon has 3 viable abilities, it makes the Pokemon different. Like Salamence, it gets Intimidate and Moxie, and that makes it like a different Pokemon to prep for. And that happens with a lot of different Pokemon. When they have multiple viable abilities to go with, then it's kind of hard to predict which one's going to be there, because then it makes how you're going to deal with it very different.
I mean, sure, like mons like Conkeldurr. I mean, Conkeldurr has 3 very offensive-oriented abilities, whereas, like you said, Salamence has Intimidate and Moxie, which you can run a defensive or a offensive variant. So it really shakes up the predictability.
And it doesn't. And you can run an offensive variant that you use as an intimidate switcher, or because Salamence just has that good of a stat distribution that it can come in, take a hit, and dish out damage while while kind of shutting down a physical attacker in the process.
Like we saw Sam do this week with Crocodile, brought Scarf Intimidate, so you could switch in, get something to -1, but still be an offensive Scarf Mon.
Exactly.
You can get tricky with these abilities because they can do so much. Oh yeah.
If you want to, we could talk about some of these new abilities, which I think are just hilarious. Like the Wimp Out ability.
Wimp Out is the worst ability.
Yeah.
Well, like it could be, I guess, okay as like a
free
getting
U-turn.
initiative, but it's just
it's a free eject button.
But how
It's a
often have we seen
force.
eject
Yeah,
button
force
used well?
eject button.
Like,
I can see that being really annoying, like when you're playing the game, because it's like a built-in automatic runaway.
Have you ever seen if you've ever just like messed around on the NU ladder and you see air balloon Rotom Fan, just because it's hilarious, the fact that it's levitate is flying type and then you give it an air balloon. So I feel like people are just gonna run a eject button like Wimpod. It's just gonna be hilarious. Eject button Wimpod.
If you look in the dictionary under redundant, it says see redundant.
So funny. I don't know, I just find it hilarious. It's so funny. Also, I'm upset because the Fluffy ability gives that bear a fire weakness, essentially.
yeah,
what it
it's
does.
basically just fur coat, but you have a fire weakness as well,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
just
Depressing.
makes it less good than Furfrou.
Yeah, I don't see why they just. I'm like, wait, why are you stupid? Just give it fur coat.
Because new abilities, yeah.
Meh.
If we're gonna
Corrosion.
do that,
Corrosion
let's
is a good
introduce
ability.
the cosmic type.
Corrosion is
Yeah, I wanna-
gonna break the
God,
metagame.
corrosion. Oh my god.
Well, it'll depend on what other mons get access to
I think it'll
corrosion,
be just
and
it.
if Salandit gets any decent evolutions and good stats.
Because the way it
Yes,
looks at
yeah,
the
I can see
moment,
it being-
if you look like the Pokedex entry, it says it's not the strongest mon, etc. So I have a feeling it's probably just going to be hanging around in the lower tiers, but that said, I think it'll find a niche in something like NU or RU, and potentially in League
Yeah.
format, if your team doesn't deal well with bulky steel types, you can just bring your corrosion. And if they give it Toxic Spikes, I'm interested to see if that works. If it can poison
Yeah, I wonder if
other
that would
things
apply.
with Toxic Spikes when it's not in the game, or I don't know if it will, but I guess we'll find out when the game's released.
Yeah, I
And
see.
basically what
They
that
probably
does
have
for
to-
you, is you can just say, well, now I can just toxic anything.
I see it as more viable
Yeah.
as poisoning Pokemon like Crobat because it's a fire type. So
Or Registeel.
at the same time, well, that's what I'm saying. It's a fire type, so it could, if it gets a decent if it's like Galvantula and gets like at least like 90 something special attack, it'll be able to use it with like Fire Blast and still dish out damage to those things. But if it's Heatran, where Heatran gets not only access to Earth Power but is immune to both of its stabs, then it's going to be an issue in which you're probably going to want to toxic that thing.
Very true. Very true.
What else? What other new abilities? They're so funny, these things. What about the ability that doesn't allow for priority moves to hit it? The Dazzling ability?
The one
I
the
think it's
fish gets, I think it's called
Yeah.
Dazzle.
The
Oh yeah,
Dazzle
that
thing?
That'll be interesting.
that nightmarish.
called? I think
fish.
it's so cute. I like it. Everyone hates
Really?
on it. I'm like, that's
It's-
just...
It's like it looks like it should be the third evolution of Alamomola and Love Disc, except it's not a freaking evolution line.
Oh my god. No, Loma
Love Disc.
Oh
Oh
my god.
Why?
So what did you guys do on Around the Rhyhorn this week? Well, we spent half the episode.
I'm done.
Stop. But no, disguise.
Ooh, okay.
Shut up, Skylar.
Hey, Trollolo. Hey, Trollolo. Shut
The
up.
thing about this,
No,
I'm a little confused about
disguise.
disguise because does it? I get that it's a substitute, but it doesn't exactly work as a substitute though because a substitute you can't like toxic a Pokemon behind the substitute, but I'm assuming you can still toxic or paralyze this thing.
Yeah.
I don't
My
know.
guess
It's-
is it's just you get one free hit. The
Yeah.
first attack that
Yeah.
hits you just does no damage, which
Or you
is
get a
interesting.
free, like, sword stance or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because substitutes based on your HP, whereas this just takes a hit no matter what.
Well, still, it's like as if you come in with a substitute, and even no matter how much HP you have, like you'll be able to take the hit no matter how powerful it is. It'll just break it. So I'm assuming that's what it's gonna be like. You come in, you take any one hit, but then at that point, like it's probably gonna have crappy defenses.
Because it's a ghost type.
Oh gosh, if Mimikyu...
Also, what I noticed is that, and this is like a really minor detail, it doesn't really pertain to anything at all, is that it says the disguise broke, which is what Substitute did in Gen 1, then they changed it to Faded.
Oh, right, it says a substitute. Yeah.
Just changed.
I think it's hilarious. It just falls. It just falls on its side. It's the most depressing Pokemon I've ever seen in my life. It just makes me so sad. I'm like, I'm sorry for you. Just it doesnn't get any love. It wants to be like Pikachu. I saw some really cool fan art of it, like trying to disguise as like the evolutions, but like it's just gonna be a Pikachu thing. Like this is its design. People are thinking, oh, it's gonna disguise as this thing. Like, no, guys, this is its design.
It's not illusion.
It's a disguise. It's what it's like. It colored on its little mask or little cloth to make it look like Pikachu, right? Because
it's that guy that goes to the football games for the worst team and wears a paper bag over his head.
Oh my god.
With the eyes cut out and a smiley face drawn on the front.
I feel like it would be cool if it got different different colors, kind of like Flabébé and Florges do, where it has the Pikachu, the Pikachu stuff, but it also has a Clefairy and an Eevee.
That'd be cool.
And a few other different ones. Yeah, I know Mimikyu is basically exclusively Pikachu because it wants to be like Pikachu.
Get it? Mimic
but I think
you.
it'd be cool.
Mimic you. Get it?
Yes.
Get
Yes,
it?
I mimic you. We got it.
Sorry.
It is K. The pun needed to be
Yeah,
made.
it was.
But
it was
Tapu Koko.
Skylar's ability is Puntacular.
Yes. Yes. Oh.
But what
Yes.
about Tapu Koko? Didn't it get what ability did it get? I forget.
It got some unique
Tapu
ability. I
Koko.
can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Let's wrap this up.
I was
Yeah,
just about to
these
say,
new
but if you
abilities are
wouldn't
gonna
cut
be
me off,
interesting.
Spastic, I swear to God, if you do this one more time when I'm trying to wrap up an Around the Rhyhorn episode, I will fire you. Anyways, that's all we have to say.
Wait, what are you talking about? Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Just
Wait,
kick him
what?
from the call. Just kick him.
What?
I can't.
I-
I don't have
I'm
powers like
I have powers.
David does. Yeah, kick him.
No,
Kick him,
nope,
please.
I will be good. I will be good. Please, no.
Anyways, that's all we have for this episode. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button and hit the subscribe button to the GBA channel if you haven't already. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below on what abilities you think are good offensively, defensively, or just all around. And we will see you guys hopefully next week for another Around the Rhyhorn. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye!
Bye.